Alright, what's going on, everybody? So today we are going to be lowering a not a GTI or Go Far or something. It's an RS3, which is essentially the same thing, MQB. There's gonna be, I don't think there's gonna be honestly any difference in anything. Nope. Just a few connectors here and there, but I'll just go ahead and walk you guys through the steps to lower an RS3. And let me grab a light. Alright, obviously first step, pull off the wheels. It's pretty warm since he just got here. So I'm going to start with removing the caliper and the rotor. So the caliper should be 221, and my steering wheel's locked, so that sucks. So one thing that makes it a little easier is if you get your steering wheel unlocked, if you have it up in the air, so you can turn the wheels to get to the bolts. But yeah, I'm gonna go unlock the steering wheel. Alright, steering wheel's unlocked, so now I can turn the wheel. Gain access to the 21s for the calipers. So you get the 221s for the caliper. Let me get my cart. So you get the 221s. Now this has a tiny lip on the rotor here, so sometimes the pads get hung up on there. So just if you give it a tug and it doesn't come off, you might just have to push the pads in a little bit. That pretty much goes for any car. So you're gonna grab your flathead here and pry up on this clip holding your brake line. So you have this clip here, and then you just stick it in the face of it and just twist your screwdriver and pop it out. So now you can hang your caliper to the side. Go ahead and just pop these, slide these rubber things out for you get your wheel speed sensor and your magnetic ride connector. Go ahead and disconnect those. I had a freaking hook here. So go ahead and take your caliper, do what you gotta do. There you go. Okay. The wheel speed sensor I did not unclip yet because it looks like it's kind of a pain. Undo your 30. For your rotor. Go ahead and grab an 18 mil and undo your sway bar end link. Might have a lot of tension on it if you have the wheel turn, so you might have to turn the wheel straight and then get the tension off the end link. There you go. Grab your 16 millimeter and get the bottom 3 nuts off. Go ahead and grab an 18 mil and undo your sway bar end link. Might have a, you can turn it back. If you can. There you go. Grab your 16 millimeter and get the bottom 3 nuts off. Okay, so don't be like me. Before you, so you're gonna need a breaker bar pretty much for this, but I broke mine. This is the axle nut, and the axle holds the axle in. Now, this is the way that I do it. You don't have to do it. I don't know how many. This is the same thing for A3, blah blah blah. You know, they're all the same. I don't know how many RS3 owners are going to be lowering their own car, but so essentially when you have the rotor on, you want to stick something in there to hold the rotor like a screwdriver, and you stick it in the vent. I'll show it on the other side, so I don't even know why I'm talking about this. Okay. I still have the wheel speed sensor connected. Okay, so I have all my electricals unplugged and tuck and push them to the side. Your tie rod. There's also a level sensor here you're going to have to undo. So you can either unbolt it from the 10 mil from the bottom, or just pop off the ball socket.
Tell Holly thank you, Neil.
Okay, I will. So I elected just to pop off the ball socket. And then you're going to come up here and pull this weather stripping off, or that sound deadening. Go ahead and take off this 10 mil, and then you can pop this plastic piece off to gain access to this bolt right here. Okay, go ahead and take your bolts off here. Here's how I do this part. So what I do is just pull your control arm off the bottom, push it down and pull your knuckle out. Then your axle will just fall in. I know in my previous video, I don't remember if I talked about on some of the GTIs, usually the performance package, that they're like really hard to get out. You got to hammer them out. Because they're real tight for whatever reason, and then just getting them back in is like kind of a pain in the butt, and you really got to fight it. So just keep that in mind if you aren't doing an RS3 and it doesn't just fall out, or a GTI that just falls out. So now that I have those off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach on the top. And then hold it while I loosen the last one. And then you got your whole strut assembly here. Okay, so you get your 21 for the top here. Now I didn't use the spring compressor at all because you don't need one because it doesn't really shoot off or anything. So go ahead, pull your strut out there. Make sure that your bottom perch kind of stays in place. It likes to fall off like this. So just don't forget that. And then, so you have your bearing. This one just does not have a, I forget the name of it. Bump stop. This one does not have a bump stop. This shaft's like, you know, an inch round compared to like a GTI, which is like this, or Golf R. So go ahead and get this perch back on. It kind of just hangs out there, so And then just grab your spring, make sure the letters are up. So there's letters here. And just face them up so you can read them upright. And then twist your spring till this rubber thing bottoms out on this little tab over here. And then take your bearing. Put your bearing in. Bearing doesn't go any certain way. Line up this tab here with this tab here. And then go ahead and now if you're not comfortable with using impact gun on this, then I suggest getting the tool. If you don't, so the way I do it is I just give it some taps, and then you'll see this thing turned when it's at the bottom. So then you know it's bottomed out and that's as tight as it needs to be. So then I'm gonna go ahead and throw this back in the car, and don't forget your arrows here with this little thing, and then turn that towards the inside. So this will face the engine. Middle to the knuckle here, and then pull down your control arm. Turn your lights off. Slide your axle back in. And, god dang it. Pulling that out. Alright. And then, so now you're ready to tighten everything back up, button it back up. That little plastic bolt nut back on here. Now these I only, I torqued them down to, I never use torque wrenches because I've done this so many times, and I already know how tight to put them. So you don't really get a wrench on them, because the way I took them off from the factory, I pulled them off with a 1/4 inch like ratchet with like no force. They're probably torqued down to 15 Newton meters. So go ahead and do that. So that's all buttoned up there. And just go ahead and start putting everything back together on the bottom here. clip. And you're all done. Throw the wheel back on and you're done with the side. So for this bolt, the triple square, the 24, this is the one I was talking about. So go ahead and to break it loose, if you got a big breaker bar, because the impact gun, you probably won't do it unless you got a really powerful one. Stick like a sturdy screwdriver in the rotor vents here, like something a lot stronger than this one. And then, or inside here, or you can, when you have the when you have the wheel on, pop the hubcap off, or the center cap, and then you can also break it loose while the car's on the ground, which would be the safest way, easiest way. And then you can also tighten it when it's back on the ground to, I think it's 200 Newton meters. But my gun was strong enough to take it off, so I just took it off on the gun.
that slip through hell.
Okay. Now this side doesn't require, the rear doesn't require that many more steps. So the rear is pretty easy. So you got your level center over here. Just go ahead, just like the front. If you have them in the front, if you have mag ride or something, just go ahead and pop that off. You don't connect that. Okay, and then you have your sway bar end link, 13 millimeter. You have your 2 bolts here for the strut. And you have for the knuckle. Okay. Go ahead and push this one out. Oh my god, my finger hurts so bad. The sway bar end link out, and then get your bolt out for the shock. Same thing with the front. Put the lettering up right. Put this spring in. The spring has on the bottom there's a stop. So just go ahead and get your spring in there and just twist it till it hits the stop. See anything? There you go. So since I have a lift, I'm going to use a 2x4, but if you're on the ground you don't have to. So make sure you line up your spring up top here at the perch, and the first thing I put in is the end link here, because it's always a pain in the butt to get on. So just kind of guide that over. So line this hole up right here. You'll see start to see your sway bar thing poking through the hole. And go a little higher. There you go. And then grab so you have two bolts. One's longer than the other. The longer one goes, I can't remember, through the shock. So go ahead and jack it up some more until your shock lines up. So then that goes through, and then the last thing you need to do is your knuckle. So you can manipulate that a little bit, pull it down. Jack up some more. Put that through. Sometimes it gets hung up there, so I like to use the impact and then just drive it through. Grab your bolts. Load the suspension a little bit. So gotta get this one. Okay. That's your 3x bolt, 13. And lastly, don't forget your level sensor here. Go ahead and pop that back on. And you're all set here. I mean, that took about 15 minutes, maybe, not even. And throw the wheel and put it back on. Time for just good measure. I'll do this one at my pace. also helps, I put a little bit of Vaseline on the bottom so I can get it into that bottom perch easier. I can freaking see. Can't see anything down there. This is fighting me so much. Yeah.
My kid was running over bait because right now he's around the corner. Can you do it grab please?
Yeah. And there you have it. That's how you lower a... like, holy crap. That's how you lower an RS3. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take it for a drive, verify any noises maybe, or I'll just give you... I've done tons of these springs, but I'll just give you a review of the springs, I guess. Alright, so this is the initial drive with the ED springs. Now this car has DCC, so that helps definitely for drivability, for when you're in, like, you know, whatever, regular driving and when you want it stiffer. But I've installed tons of ED springs. I think it's a manual design. I think that's what they still call them. But I've done a ton of these, and I know that it lowers the car modestly, you know, like not very much, nothing crazy. And the ride is like almost OEM. I had them on, no, I didn't have them on my car. I've driven plenty of cars with them on, and the car drives pretty good. It's not low, not super low. You don't have to worry about scraping. This one has the 10mm spacers all around, and it has this lowering springs, and I didn't have any problems getting on my driveway, which it's not super steep, but you know, it's a driveway, and I went pretty straight down. Now this is the RS3, and yeah, so I think these are pretty great springs for the price. And if you just want a little lower, and you know, if you're going to the racetrack, it's whatever, like, you know, it's not like you're not going to lose time. I don't think you're going to gain time. You know, it's just going to make your car look better. That's it. You know, the spring rate's nothing crazy. Yeah. So initially, just driving regular. Springs aren't really broken in yet, whatever they say. But for daily driving, these are great springs, I think. They're H&R, they're like up there, you know, H&Rs are really great for daily driving. If you just throw the H&R springs on, you could drive out to somewhere, so I can get in the parking lot and then see how difference with the spacers and the springs are. It's probably gonna look amazing, you know. Just, I think that's one of the best things you can do for looks for your car is spacers and springs. It's the cheapest. Well, it's about 400 bucks. I mean, just for parts. I always forget to add in the fact that, you know, labor, because I always do my own stuff. But I think for looks, I think that's one of the best things you can do is springs and spacers for any car. Oh my god! And you guys are gonna see at the beginning of this video when I smashed the crap out of my finger. It's straight purple right now on my thumb. So stupid. It hurts so bad. I just wanted to cry. This is so this guy had a Golf R before, and I did like tail lights, downpipe. I did all kinds of stuff, like all day event on his car. And he trusted enough to bring his new car back to me. But so that time when I was installing his downpipe, I was just tightening a bolt, and then I just hit my same thumb. I think it's my same finger, and I had to drain it. I think I have to drain this one too. There was so much pressure, it hurt so bad. But the same guy, different car, smashed my finger again. So I think I'm definitely gonna drain it, because it feels so much better when you do, if you ever smash your fingernail. All right, let me go. I'm gonna get to the parking lot and then get out, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like all said and done. All right, let's have a look at how it looks now. So, I mean, you really can't tell. I forgot, you know, I didn't have time to do it before and take a photo, but Alright, so that's it for the RS3 spring install. The drive over here was pleasant. I drive like an old geezer 99% of the time. You would think driving all these, you know, fast cars at work and stuff, I just don't care anymore. So for daily driving, I think ED springs are a way to go. They're so smooth. You know, H&R, VWR, pretty much almost all the same. I think maybe even the ED springs might even be a rebranded spring that's already out there. People may already know this, but I don't know, I can't keep track of everything. So, you know, feel free to fill me in if you know for a fact or anything, if these are just a rebranded spring. But yeah, alright, now I need to find my way out of here. Okay. Alright guys, well yeah, so like I said, that wraps this up. Hope I answered any question, or I don't know, I hope this helps anybody. This is just almost, it's exactly the same as any GTI Golf R, you know, the same suspension and everything. So the only difference with this is if you have DCC, you have the DCC plug on the bottom of your shock or on the side of your shock if it's a Golf R, and you have all four corners have the level sensors. Now there is a debate whether you have to get this calibrated after you lower it through the dealer. I do have Rostec, but I don't feel comfortable messing with that. I didn't on my Golf R, and it really made no difference. I don't think. People seem to think it did, but I don't know. I drove my Golf R like that with just the springs. After doing, I didn't do any adaptations or anything, and it's fine. The suspension never died. I went on the track like that, 10 track days or so. Never had any issues. So it's really up to you if you want to go into the dealer and have them calibrate it for you. That's always an option if you feel like you have to. Let me know if you do go, or if you have had DCC or some kind of mag ride. And I've done a bunch of research because a lot of other cars have like Corvettes, Cadillacs, and stuff like that, and people were kind of on the same, you know, they did the same thing, they got it calibrated, and it didn't really make a difference at all. So, or they didn't get it calibrated, and I know plenty of people that never got it calibrated after this. So that way, when you go back to stock, if you do, then you don't have to do anything, you don't have to pay twice. I think it's worth it just to lower it and go. So alright, well, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace. Now, I haven't driven a 5-cylinder in a great while, so it's going to be nice to get a little taste of, this one is tuned, I believe, so it'll be nice to get a little taste of what my exoset's going to be like, kind of, or to compare the difference between a direct injection 07K or the, whatever they call this one, the 5-cylinder versus mine. So that'll be interesting. So I'm gonna go, well, I'll drive this right now, and the owner told me to go ahead and drive it. It's my first time driving a RS3. I think the last 5-cylinder I've driven was a Mark II TT. So that was a manual, so that was more like, you know, what I'm building, but that was such a long time ago. So yeah, I'm gonna go, yeah, let's go. I'm stuck at a light now, so this is the extremely boring part. If I can find anywhere to close. Oh, I broke my thing again. Nice cluster here, and it's got automatic, so probably not going to go too crazy here. Boom. Now this is tuned on, I think you said Eurodyne. One thing that's different though, driving on a Mercedes in sport mode and these in sport modes, I do like the way the Mercedes drive in sport, because they like to shift. When you drive these in sport, they never want to shift. They just, like, they stay in gear. So it feels pretty, I don't know. It's hard to tell. That was one little. I'll do a U-turn up here and then see. But I'm sure it's gonna be just fine. Oh my God, my finger hurts so bad. Oh, I just saw this BMW. Hit this guy. Of course, the cop pulled up next to me at the light. Alright, so now that I'm away from him, to the second gear roll out here. It's getting a lot of detonation at the top. It's kind of scary. Obviously sounds great. What have you, obviously. That was tons of detonation up top. And initially when I get in the power, it does a lot of detonation. I've always wanted to see my face in a video when it's full throttle. Because I like watching when people, when they, you know, gun the cars, and then their face expressions. I'm always like, what does mine look like when I'm gunning it? And it's really hard to get a thought process down sometimes when in the middle. But anyways, let me get on this one more time and think about what it compares to. Feels just like my Mercedes. Alright, second gear again, and then, so let's see. Yeah, pretty harsh shifting, but I mean, yeah, I don't even know what fast is anymore, honestly, guys. I'm brainwashed at work. I don't know what's what. I'd say this is pretty relatable to the new V6 twin turbo Mercedes. Probably like a 43, like a C43. It feels pretty close to the same power to me. Well, this one's tuned, I think. She said it was. I don't know if it's turned on. I'm sure it is. But my finger hurts. I'd say, yeah, it feels pretty close to, like, to me, what it's is around, I don't even know, 300-ish horsepower to the wheels, 350 to the wheels. Is that what these are? I'm just guessing. So I don't like these in sport mode, because when you're in sport mode, then it does weird things. Go back into comfort, my comfort zone. Back to comfort. Yeah, this isn't an RS3 review or anything. Just me lucked in enough to drive one and just kind of see what it's like. Now, I did ride in a 034 TT that had full bolt-ons and significantly faster, obviously. I think it's stock turbo, but that one's pretty quick. Like, power's all relevant. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But yeah, alright, well, okay, now that's it for now. Alright, I'll catch you guys later.